It is officially a brand new year, guys. 2013 is behind us, and 2014 is just straight ahead. I think that a new year means a lot of things to a lot of new people, and I think that to many people, a new year means a new beginning, like a way to kind of start over. I feel like that's not a great way to look at it, because it kind of implies that our lives sort of are on a rotating cycle, and every year you just start over again. But I feel like we can take this concept and sort of use it to reorganize our lives and look at what's really important to us. A few years back, a good friend of mine named Alexis posted a list of goals on Facebook, and these were just like her goals for the next year. Basically, the idea was to make them a little more lenient than like a New Year's resolution, and to make them a little more broad. That way, as long as you felt like you were doing something to accomplish that goal in the year, then you were still successful. You didn't have to finish your goal. You just had to make strides towards it. I've been using this method for a few years now, and I've sort of been trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And honestly, this is going to be different for everybody. But I found that the strategy that I'm going to talk to you about works really well for me. So what I've been doing for a few years now is I look at the past year, and I do sort of like a year-end review. And I just sort of look at what I think the highlights of the year were for me. First of all, before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and outline to you what I think my highlights were for 2013, what I think my best of moments were in my lifetime. I'm going to do it chronologically in the order of the way that things happened, and then I'm only going to talk about the things that I feel like were important and that I really thought made an impact on my life. First things first, in January, I went to the presidential inauguration and I attended the presidential staff ball because I was on the Obama campaign and all of us got free tickets to the staff ball, and it was, great, and I thought that it was a fun way to sort of cap off that whole experience. For me, it was kind of a fun way to remind us what we were fighting for the whole time, because there was a lot of political figures there that talked about what we had accomplished and what they were going to be doing and things like that. And then also we had a really great party. I got to see Lady Gaga live, which is just crazy. She did like an acoustic set. And then of course I got to see the president speak and the vice president and then all the people that I worked with on the campaign. It was a really great time. And I feel like I'll always sort of fondly look back on the staff ball as something that was a big deal in my life that I was glad that I did. Secondly, I moved to Florida for about a month. I stayed with my good friend Dustin just as a way to get away and sort of like relax for a month. And I was what a lot of people refer to as snowbirds in Florida. That's people who go there for the winter, just sort of to get away from the cold. And it was really great. I really loved getting to just be in the warm weather, get to spend a month with one of my best friends. Because honestly, I don't get to see Dustin that often because he lives very far away from where I live. It was just kind of amazing to get to spend a obligation-free month with one of my best friends. And then also we went to Disney World, which was amazing, and I got to go to Universal for the first time. And it was just a good time all around. And it really showed me that, I really enjoy traveling, and I love new things, and also spending time with people that I really care about. Then sometime around this past summer, I went to Chicago to see the new Star Kids show, Twisted. For those of you who may not know who Star Kid is, they're basically a parody musical acting troupe. They did a Harry Potter musical, which was very successful, and they went on to make 2 sequels of a Harry Potter musical. Then they also did a sci-fi musical called Starship. They did a parody of Batman called Holy Musical Batman, which was a lot of fun. And then Twisted was their latest show, which is essentially the story of Disney's Aladdin told from the perspective of Jafar. It was funny and great and really well written, and the actors were amazing. And I got to see these people that I've been fans of for literally years now. And it was just a really great experience to get to see an acting troupe that I've been really into for a long time now. And to get to see them do something that I love so much, because it was a very Disney-heavy show. If you've not seen the show, it's on YouTube right now. The whole show is on YouTube. So if you like Disney at all, and if you like musicals at all, then click on the description below and check that out, because it's really, really great. Next, for around Halloween time, I worked on a show with Canal Players, which is a local community theater group, and it's actually the second oldest community theater company in the country, which is incredible. And I worked on a show called Night of the Living Dead. I'm sure you've heard of Night of the Living Dead because of the movie. This is essentially that, but in theater form. We were all in black and white, so we had gray makeup on, the set was all gray. It was a really incredible experience to get to do something very different while still getting to act. I actually hadn't been in a production for like 4 or 5 years, so to get the chance to work with a theater company and to put on a show that actually sold out like most nights, and only our matinee was the only thing that didn't sell out. That was even like 3/4 sold out. And I was really glad that I got to get into acting again and get to know some really great people in the theater community in Charleston, West Virginia. And then next I started the +1 to Athletics web series. I started shooting that. That's one of those things that I'm really glad I started doing. I got to work with some really great people who are some of my best friends in the world. Elle Zombie and Chase Henderson are essentially my go-to crew who do everything for me. And we basically are just trying to figure out ways to get in shape without traditional exercise, doing things that are really geeky like live action role playing. Unlike the Zombies Run smartphone app that tells you a story about living in the zombie apocalypse while you also run, and playing like workout video games so that you can get in shape while playing a video game, which is just insane to think about. And finally, towards the end of October, I made the decision to go back to college. I started college right out of high school in 2004 at Marshall University, and I majored in journalism. I enjoyed college, but I feel like I honestly enjoyed the extracurriculars, like working at the radio station and attending local shows and getting to know the music scene in the area. And I really loved that a lot more than actually going to classes. I enjoyed the classes, but honestly, I felt like I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And the further that I got into the journalism major, the more I realized I just didn't love it as much as I thought I did. Not that I don't love journalism, I do. I just didn't love taking classes for journalism, if that makes sense. So this year, after like 3 or 4 years out of college, I decided to go back to college and finish up my bachelor's, but this time I'm going to get a degree in English, which I think will be more what I want to do. And that was a big moment for me to actually go back to college and start feeling like I was doing something and working towards something that I wanted for a long time. Now that is the first step for my goal setting strategy for New Year's. You do a year-end review. What I feel like that tells you is what you consider to be important, what your priorities really are. If you thought something was important enough to call it a highlight of your life, then that means that it's one of your priorities. You may not have realized it, but it is. If you would call it one of the best moments of the year, then it's something that's important to you. And you should consider that whenever you look at what you want to do for the following year. So if you keep in mind all of your highlights, then you want to go ahead and make a list of like 4 or 5 goals and just make them broad enough that as long as you do something to progress that, then you'll feel like you're accomplishing something, while at the same time you can attach specific things to those broad categories to give you a better idea of how to move forward with them. Without any further ado, these are my goals for 2014. I know that this sounds a little weird, because what does that even mean except myself? What I mean by that is I want to get to a place where I can accept me for who I am. And it's not anything personality-wise, because honestly I feel like I love me as a person. But I don't love my body, and that's just a thing that I've been struggling with for a long time. And I feel like +1 to Athletics will help me with that, because it will help me realize that I can get in shape without doing these things that I hate doing, like working out at a gym and lifting weights and stuff like that. But I feel like ultimately being a healthy person has a lot less to do with working out and eating healthy, and has a lot more to do with coming to accept yourself for who you are. And I'm not saying settling. Like, I don't want to settle in 2014. I want to be like, yeah, I'm good with this. I can just eat whatever I want now. No, I want to accept that the way that I look is okay, and that I don't need to conform to some image of what the ideal person looks like. I like to be able to accept that I look fine, and that I can be successful in life without doing anything to myself, while at the same time understanding that whenever I eat healthy, whenever I exercise, it just makes me feel good. I just feel better as a person whenever I eat better and take care of my body in a way that feels productive. So what this goal really means is that I would like to get to a place where I can just say, I'm a great person and I accept that all of my flaws are there, but there are things that I can get over, and I will get over them over the course of many years, and that's fine. I don't need to do anything immediately. And I feel like this is a much better goal than to say I'd like to lose 10 pounds over the course of a year. Because first of all, that's a ridiculous goal. Like, you should obviously be able to lose 10 pounds in a year. But also, like, it's just crazy to make that your goal. Like, your goal should be something more substantial than just, I want to lose X amount of weight. You should just want to be happy. And that's honestly what this means. I just want to be happy. So as I said in my year-end review for 2013, I recently started school as an English major. I decided to major in English because I just really love creating stories and characters and worlds. And I just want to do that, like, for a living. And I liked journalistic writing. I really did. And I would like to do that for a living if I could. And I feel like school will be a great step in the right direction, but I don't need to just rely on that to get me a job. So I would like to, throughout the year, just write different things. I've written several things, but I've never finished something. And I would love to have something that I've finished, like some sort of product that I can say, here, I wrote this and I like it. And I think you should publish it or read it or whatever. I don't need this to be anything specific. Like, I would like to write a comic book or like a novel or a play or even like articles for like a news website. But I just want to write something. I want to find a way for me to write regularly and feel fulfilled creatively with it. This may seem a little out of left field whenever you look at my year-end review, but whenever it came to a lot of the events that really stuck out, you know, I think about whenever I went to Florida, and I think about whenever I went to see Star Kid in Twisted, and I think about working with Canal Players Theater. Ultimately, a lot of the things I did there in all three of those situations, well, I just wanted to sing. I love singing, and I love music, and I just don't get to do it often enough. In Florida, I auditioned for a theme park thing at Universal Studios Orlando, and I realized that even though I don't necessarily want to work at a theme park, I want to sing for a living. That'd be amazing. I'm so in love with Star Kid because they write really clever songs, and they blended those songs into shows so perfectly, and I would love to be one of those people, to be able to do something in the musical theater genre. And then whenever I work with Canal Players Theater, that's ultimately what I want to do, even though I did Night of the Living Dead, which is a musical. And I would like to be a more serious actor and do acting that's not just in the musical genre, but I really just want to sing. I realize whenever we talk about the upcoming plays, and if this one's a musical and that one's not, I find myself wanting to audition for the musical and not caring as much about the other one. So I really want to do more singing this year. I just want to express that side of myself that doesn't get to be expressed as much as I'd like it to. Again, this goal is very broad, and I totally understand that. But whenever I think about what I loved so much about the Obama campaign, I realize that I love the Obama campaign because I got to do something that I was good at, while also feeling like I was really helping society and individuals over the course of the campaign. So whether it's a job or just something I do on a volunteer basis or whatever, I would like to be able to help people more regularly and in any way possible. I mean, I'm doing community theater, which I think is great, and it provides art to the community, and it is a non-profit organization, but I like to take that like a step further. I'm planning on volunteering with the JCs, which is this local community organizing organization here in Boone County where I live. And I'd like to work with them a lot more so that I could actually contribute to the community some more. And I'm also looking to get a job in an area that might actually help people as a whole. Like maybe a job as like a caregiver or like a community organizer, something like that. I don't think I realized just how important it was to me to feel like I was giving back to the community until I actually worked for the Obama campaign. And I would like to harness that emotion and bring it into a really positive way that can affect this community in West Virginia. So that is it for now. I would love to hear your guys' goals for 2014. Put those in the comments, maybe some of your favorite moments in 2013. I'd also love to hear those. And obviously, if you enjoyed this video, you should like it. And if you want to see more videos like this one, then you should subscribe to this channel, because I post videos every Wednesday and Friday, so you get some sort of content twice a week. I think it's a pretty good deal. And it's totally free to you. This past Friday, I posted a video about a flying car, which I think is amazing and will be some really great innovations in the coming years. So if you'd like to see that and see how excited I am about that, click on the video over here, and you can check that out for sure. And until then, I'll see you next time. A company called Terrafugia that's developing a flying car. So you know the flying car stories tend to crop up a couple times a year. But this one I'm actually pretty interested in. Now, I'm not able to talk about the scientific end of it or the feasibility, things like that.